Hi, this is Chef Dangoor with TigerChef. Today I'm going to show you guys something very interesting. I have a stuffed chicken wing with mushroom and asparagus. First thing you're going to want to do in the stuffed chicken wing is make your mix. So the mix, you're going to saute mushrooms and asparagus. So the mushrooms are going to be cut like this. You go down, you want to make about 1/4 inch cubes. So you cut them like this. And they can be a rough cut because they're going inside. Nobody's really going to see, your knife work. So as long as they're roughly about 1/4 inch cubes, you'll be good. Once you have your mushrooms cut, you want to cut your asparagus. And you're just going to do a quick chop, very thin. This is about a 1/16, between an 1/8 and a 1/16 of an inch thick. All right, now that we have both of our mushrooms and our asparagus cut, and by the way, you want a 2-to-1 ratio of mushrooms to asparagus. I'm gonna coat my pan with some oil. Right here over here, I got about 1 ounce of oil. I'm gonna let it heat up. I'm gonna add my mushrooms, saute, and then after about 2 minutes, I'm gonna add my asparagus, and then until it's golden brown, we're gonna take it out. When it starts sizzling, you could put on about 2 pinches of salt, and then you could add your asparagus. Now that it's all pretty well caramelized, we're gonna take it out and set it aside so it can cool down. All right, now that we're gonna let this cool, we're gonna set it aside, and we're gonna get working on our chicken. So now what I have over here is the chicken wing. Now we have the drum over here, the drumette, and we have the one with the 2 bones in here. This is the actual wing itself. So I'm gonna keep intact the bone of the drumette, and we're gonna take out the bones of the wing. So the way we're gonna do this, you want a sharp knife. I got my vent knife over here. And I wanna be careful not to cut the skin. So instead of putting it in a downward motion to separate the bones, I'm gonna stab it through the 2 bones and go upward so I don't cut my skin. And set this guy aside. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pinch this top bone and I'm gonna twist my finger around because I'm gonna try to separate the meat from the bone. I'm gonna go up and down slowly. Now if you can see, I got a little bit of it taken away from this bone. I'm gonna start on the other bone. And it takes a second, but you'll get the hang of it. And by the way, sometimes there's some tendons still attached. Just take a sharp knife, cut right through it, no problem. And just work your way down. Try not to rip any of the skin, because the skin is what's gonna hold everything together. So do each bone, okay. Now you see I got both bones pretty exposed. I'm just gonna break it off from where it's attached over here. So just wanna go against the joint, and boom, came off easy. This one will come off easy too. Boom, just like that. This is all meat now, and you have the drumette over here. Now the second portion is, I wanna move all the meat on the drumette down too. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna squeeze around the top, find a tendon, I'm just gonna cut through it. Just like that, very easy. Sometimes you can just break through the tendon with your finger, but if not, just cut through it. This one's got a couple. All right, perfect. Now I can move it down. So now let me tell you the point of keeping this bone attached. When you serve it, how is somebody gonna pick it up? So you give them the option of picking it up like this. Also, if you wanna serve it with this sticking up, it goes for a nice presentation. So I've gone ahead and done a couple of these already, as you can see. And now I'm gonna do one stuffing. So we have a little cavity over here. You just wanna separate it with your fingers, just to find out where it is. We're gonna take our mix now that it's cooled down. Hold this in my left hand, I'm right-handed. And I'm gonna stuff this. I'm gonna put a little bit at a time. And the good thing about stuffing this is it's actually gonna take the shape as if there is a bone in there. So it's kind of like a little bit of a surprise when they bite into it. There you go. You don't need too much. About 1 ounce will do. You don't want it to be too overflowing. But you can see this looks pretty full, like there's a bone in it. Now I've stuffed all my chicken wings, and we're gonna get on to the next part. So this is food grade plastic wrap, and I'm gonna wrap it in here very tightly. We want to keep the form of the chicken. Okay, so I'm just rolling it in here. And you see I'm keeping these ends out. Those ends are going to be very important in a second. So I roll it tight, and now I'm going to twist and tie a knot. Okay, on both sides. It's one knot on one side. And I'm going to push, now that I have a knot on this side, I'm going to push this down as much as I can. So I want this to keep this shape. And the plastic wrap is going to help us do that. I'll tie a knot over here. Okay. So now this is wrapped in my plastic wrap. Now listen, before I go forward, I want to give a double warning again. You have to have food grade plastic wrap. This could be heated in boiling water and it's not going to transfer any chemicals to your food. So it's very important that you don't continue this with any normal plastic wrap, but food grade plastic wrap. All right, now that these guys are wrapped, you could do one of two things with them. You could prepare them for tonight's service, or you could store them in the freezer. These guys, you could freeze them up to a month. But the day that you want to serve them, take them out, a day before actually, 24 hours, and leave them in the refrigerator. That way they can thaw out. So we're gonna cook these off. So the first thing we're gonna do is boil them. And once they're cooked all the way through, which takes about 10-15 minutes, then we're gonna take them out and we're going to pan fry them just to crisp up the skin, and they'll be ready to serve. All right, now that I've taken out all these chicken wings, if you can see inside, I want to touch it because it's still pretty hot. If you can see, all the meat is on one end and you have the bone on the other. So we're gonna let it cool down and we're gonna cut it out. So I'm gonna cut right underneath the knot and I'm just gonna squeeze it out from the bone. Now, if I was one of those rinky-dinky whatever chefs, I would just stop here. But we're gonna take this a step further. I got some herb oil right here. It's garlic, rosemary, thyme oil. I'm gonna put it in my pan. We're gonna heat it up, and then we're gonna put it on our chicken wings. We're gonna crisp the outside, get a nice crispy outside, soft center. It's gonna be delicious. So now we want this to be at a medium-high heat, not at a super high heat. And it's okay if some of the stuffing comes out. We're gonna place this in there. And we're gonna get a nice, beautiful crisp on it. All right, so let's pull these guys out of the pan. You can see we have them perfectly golden brown. I'm gonna pour some honey on top and some pepper flakes. So I just hit this with a little bit of honey and some pepper flakes, you know, to balance out that flavor. And our chicken wings are really good to go. So listen, for more interesting, tasty ideas like this, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and for all your chef needs, come visit us at TigerChef.com.